For years, I made a massive mistake with my cat, and I honestly feel terrible about it now. If you own a cat, you probably know the exact scenario I'm about to describe. You get up from the couch to go to the kitchen, and your cat is right there, weaving between your legs. You walk to the bathroom, shut the door, and within 5 seconds, you see those little paws desperately swiping under the gap, accompanied by dramatic, mournful meows. For the longest time, I assumed this behavior was purely transactional. I thought, she's just begging for food again, or she's being overly needy and trying to micromanage my life. Sometimes I would even get annoyed, gently nudging her away or ignoring her completely. But as I started diving deep into feline behavioral psychology, I realized how incredibly wrong I was. By shutting that door and ignoring her, I wasn't setting healthy boundaries. I was accidentally triggering a massive spike of survival anxiety in her brain.
Cats do not follow us because they are needy. They don't lack independence. The truth about why your cat acts like your shadow is deeply rooted in a complex mix of neurology, spatial mapping, and ancient survival instincts. And once I understood the actual science behind this, it completely transformed the way I interact with my cat. Let's look at the science, because what's happening in your cat's brain when they follow you is absolutely fascinating. It all comes down to a neurochemical process and a psychological phenomenon known as the secure base effect. Originally, psychologists used this term to describe the bond between human infants and their mothers, and later dogs and their owners. But recent studies, including groundbreaking research on feline socio-cognitive abilities, have proven that cats exhibit this exact same trait. When you leave a room, you aren't just shifting locations, you are altering your cat's olfactory and visual map of their territory.
Cats perceive their environment largely through scent and routine. When their secure base, which is you, suddenly disappears behind a closed door, it creates a spatial anomaly. Research into feline stress, including studies akin to those conducted at the University of Utrecht regarding feline environmental mapping, shows that a suddenly closed door can cause an immediate spike in cortisol, the primary stress hormone. Your cat isn't crying at the bathroom because they want to watch you use the toilet. They are experiencing acute spatial disorientation and separation distress. Conversely, when they finally see you again, their brain releases a surge of dopamine and oxytocin. You are quite literally their biological regulator. I noticed that when I finally opened the door, my cat would often rub her cheeks against my shins.
I thought she was just being cute, but she was actually utilizing her facial pheromones to claim me again, successfully lowering her own heart rate and neutralizing that cortisol spike. But to truly understand why your presence is a matter of life and death to your cat, we have to travel back in time. We need to look at the evolutionary depth of their ancestors. Underneath that fluffy exterior, your cat is running on the ancient, unupdated software of Felis sylvestris libica, the African wildcat. In the harsh, unforgiving deserts of the Middle East, these ancestors were solitary hunters. However, they occupied a very precarious position in the food chain. They were mesopredators. This means they were apex hunters to mice and insects, but they were also prey to larger predators like wolves, eagles, and larger wildcats. Because of this dual status as both predator and prey, wildcats evolved a hypervigilant nervous system.
In the wild, doing things like eating, sleeping, or going to the bathroom are moments of extreme vulnerability. A cat that lets its guard down in the desert doesn't survive. Fast forward thousands of years to your living room. Your cat still possesses this intense vulnerability instinct. When your cat follows you to the bathroom or insists on sitting right next to your plate while you eat, they are engaging in mutual pack protection. They know that when you are occupying yourself in a closed room, you are vulnerable. By following you, my cat wasn't just seeking my protection, she was actively trying to guard me. I am part of her core territory, and her evolutionary blueprint tells her that we must watch each other's backs. When I locked her out, I was essentially telling her, I am going into this vulnerable space alone, and you cannot protect me. No wonder she was panicking at the door. Understanding this evolutionary background was a light bulb moment for me.
But it also left me with a practical problem. I still need my privacy, and I don't want my cat to live in a constant state of low-grade anxiety when I'm not in her direct line of sight. So how do we fix this? How do we build their confidence without breaking their trust? I started implementing a few behavioral psychology strategies in my home, and the results were almost immediate. First, I addressed territorial anxiety by strictly enforcing the N+1 rule for her resources. This rule dictates that you should always have one more resource than the number of cats you own. For one cat, that means 2 litter boxes, 2 distinct scratching posts, and multiple elevated resting spots. By scattering these resources throughout the house, I was expanding her safe zones. She no longer felt that I was her only source of security. The environment itself became her secure base.
Secondly, I completely changed how I interacted with her when she followed me, using the 3-second consent rule. In the past, when she followed me to the couch, I would scoop her up and pet her until she got overstimulated and walked away. Now I let her come to me. I offer my index finger, simulating a feline nose-to-nose greeting. If she rubs against it, I pet her for exactly 3 seconds. Then I stop and pull my hand back. This is crucial. I wait to see what she does. If she nudges my hand, I continue. If she sits quietly or looks away, I leave her alone. By doing this, I gave her back her autonomy. I communicated to her nervous system that she is in control of our interactions. Ironically, the more space and choice I gave her, the less desperately she felt the need to shadow my every move. She still follows me, but it's a calm companionship now, not an anxious necessity. I also installed a high wall shelf near the bathroom and kitchen. Cats find safety in verticality.
Now, instead of tangling around my ankles, she hops up to her shelf, supervising me from a confident, elevated vantage point. Changing my perspective on this one simple behavior revolutionized my relationship with my cat. It shifted my mindset from frustration to profound empathy. When your cat follows you from room to room, looking up at you with those big, unblinking eyes, it is the ultimate compliment in the animal kingdom. You have to remember that cats have not been entirely domesticated the way dogs have. They essentially chose to live with us. They are fierce, independent micropanthers who could survive on their own instincts. Yet they look at you and decide, in this vast, unpredictable world, you are my safe place. You are my home. They don't follow you because they are broken. They follow you because they trust you implicitly with their survival. And realizing that is the most beautiful, humbling experience a pet owner can have. I'd love to hear from you.
What is the weirdest place your cat insists on following you to? Let me know down in the comments. I read every single one. And if this video helped you understand your feline best friend a little better, hit that subscribe button so we can keep exploring the fascinating science of animal psychology together. Until next time, give your cat a 3-second pet for me.